So, there I was, standing in my own backyard in my dress uniform, the one I hadn't worn in over a year. My 7-year-old daughter, Lily, was clinging to my leg like I was the last branch on a cliff. My wife Sarah's arms were wrapped around my neck, and the smell of burgers on the grill was mixing with the scent of freshly cut grass. My whole family was there, uncles, aunts, cousins, all cheering, crying, and patting me on the back. It was perfect. It was the exact moment I had spent 12 months in a desert hellhole dreaming about. And then I saw her, my mother. She wasn't crying tears of joy. Oh no, her face was a thundercloud of pure, uncut rage. She shoved her way through my happy, welcoming family, got right up in my face, and screeched, loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear. How could you do this to me? How could you lie to your own mother and humiliate me in front of everyone? Yeah, you heard that right. I'd just gotten back from a year-long deployment, and my mother was accusing me of humiliating her. Welcome home, I guess. If you want to know how a soldier's homecoming turns into a drama fest of epic proportions, stick around. It's a wild ride. Let's rewind. For the better part of a year, my world had been sand, sun, and the same handful of faces. Being deployed is tough, you know? It's not the action you see in movies. It's mostly boredom, punctuated by moments of sheer terror, all while you're missing everything that matters. For me, that was my wife, Sarah, and our daughter, Lily. They were my everything. My reason for getting through each day? Sarah is my rock. She's strong, independent, and she handled everything back home like a champ. And Lily, man, she's my sunshine. Leaving her when she was 6 was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Now, my family is pretty solid. My dad is a quiet guy, a man of few words, but he's got a heart of gold. He's the kind of guy who shows his love by making sure your oil is changed and your tires are good. He's my hero. And then there's my mom, Carol. Look, I love my mother, I really do. But my mom has this need. A need to be the main character in every single story. When I was deployed, you'd think she was the one on the front lines based on her Facebook posts. It was all, pray for my hero son, and for his mother, who waits by the phone every single day. The burden of a soldier's mom is a heavy one. She'd post old photos of me in uniform with captions that were just dripping with drama. It drove me crazy, but what was I going to do from thousands of miles away? Every care package she sent was less about the jerky and socks and more about the 5-page, handwritten letter detailing every single minor inconvenience she'd faced that week. The long line at the grocery store, the neighbor's dog barking, how hard it was for her to sleep at night knowing I was over there. It was like she thought we were in a competition for who was having a tougher time, and she was determined to win. So, about a month before I was scheduled to come home, I get the news. My unit's departure was moved up. I was coming home 2 weeks early. I was ecstatic. I could barely contain myself. The first person I called was Sarah. We cried on the phone for like 10 minutes straight, and then we started planning. The annual family 4th of July barbecue was happening the day after I was set to land. It was the perfect opportunity. I could surprise everyone, not just my mom and dad, but all the aunts, uncles, and cousins who had been so supportive. But the most important surprise, the one that made my heart ache just thinking about it, was for Lily. I had this vision in my head of walking into the backyard and seeing her face light up. That was the prize. That was the finish line. Sarah and I made a pact. We would tell the absolute minimum number of people necessary to pull this off. That list included my best friend Mark, who's a vet himself and understood the importance of a low-key homecoming, and my dad. We had to tell my dad so he could help manage my mom. I called him next. Dad, I said, my voice low. I'm coming home early, but I want to surprise everyone at the barbecue. I could hear the smile in his voice. Son, that's the best news I've heard all year. But Dad, I said, and this was the crucial part. You cannot, under any circumstances, tell Mom. You know how she is. She'll turn it into a 3-ring circus. This one's for Lily and Sarah. I just want it to be simple. I get it, son, he said, and his voice was firm. My lips are sealed. Your mother won't hear a peep from me. Famous last words, right? The next couple of weeks were a blur of logistics and quiet excitement. Sarah and I texted back and forth like we were planning a secret mission. Operation Welcome Home was a go. The plan was simple. I'd fly into a regional airport about an hour away, not our local one where my mom would expect me. Mark would pick me up, we'd grab a burger at a place that didn't know what kale was, and then we'd head to the barbecue. Simple, clean, and perfect. But I underestimated the power of the main character. About a week out, my mom started her campaign. She called Sarah every single day. Sarah, honey, have you heard from my son? Do we have a firm date yet? I need to know. I have to start planning his welcome home party. The entire neighborhood has been asking me. It needs to be a big event. We need banners. A cake. Sarah, bless her heart, was a fortress. She played it cool. Not yet. Carol, she'd say calmly. You know how it is with the military. Things change. As soon as I have a concrete date, you'll be the first to know. This, of course, was not the answer my mother wanted. She started getting snippy. Well, it just seems strange that his own wife wouldn't have a date yet. Are you sure you're not keeping things from me? I'm his mother. Then she turned her attention to my dad. She'd follow him around the house, peppering him with questions. George, you're awfully quiet. You know something, don't you? You can't keep this from me. I'm his mother. I have a right to know when my baby is coming home. My dad, to his credit, held the line. He'd just grunt and say, Carol, I know what you know. He'll be home when he's home. He called me one night, sounding exhausted. She's like a detective trying to crack a case. Son, I haven't cracked, but man, she's relentless. The Facebook posts escalated. Pictures of her looking wistfully out a window. The waiting is the hardest part. Every car that drives by, I think, could it be him? Hashtag mother of his soldier, hashtag hero son, hashtag empty nest is hard. My cousin texted me a screenshot of it with a single word, barf. It was all annoying, but it was manageable. The plan was still intact. The leak happened the day before I was supposed to fly out. It came from the most unexpected place, my Uncle Bob. Uncle Bob is a great guy, but he's got the subtlety of a freight train. He called my dad to confirm what time he should show up for the barbecue. My dad, who had just endured a 2-hour interrogation from my mom about flight manifests and military transport schedules, was at the end of his rope. He wasn't thinking. He just said, Hey Bob, just make sure you're at the house by 2 p.m. tomorrow. We've got a big surprise planned. And my mom, who apparently has the hearing of a bat, overheard him from the other room. That was it. That was all she needed. A big surprise at the barbecue the day after she knew I was supposed to be getting back soon. She put 2 and 2 together and got a full-blown conspiracy. According to my dad, she cornered him in the kitchen. She went from 0 to 100 in a split second. The tears started, the accusations flew. You were lying to me. Both of you. My own husband and my daughter-in-law, conspiring behind my back. I can't believe this. This is about my son. And my dad, a good man who just can't stand to see his wife cry. Even when the tears are 100% manufactured, he broke. He caved. He told her everything. The early arrival, the plan to surprise everyone, all of it. You'd think a normal mother would be thrilled, right? Overjoyed that her son is coming home safe and sound 2 weeks early. She'd be excited to be in on the secret and help pull it off. But my mother is not a normal mother. She wasn't happy. She was incandescent with rage. The fact that a plan, any plan, had been made that didn't revolve entirely around her was a personal insult of the highest order. Her first call was to Sarah. I was at the base, packing my last duffel bag, when Sarah called me, sobbing. She knows, Sarah choked out. Your mom knows everything. She just called me screaming her head off. I felt my blood run cold. What did she say? She said we betrayed her. That you're her son and she had a right to be the first one to see you. And she's not coming to the barbecue. I felt a weird sense of relief. Okay, so she's not coming? That's not the worst thing. No, Sarah said, her voice trembling. You don't understand. She's not coming to the barbecue because she's coming to get you. From the airport. She somehow got your dad to tell her your flight number. She's going to be there waiting for you. She said she wants to capture the moment for her friends. My fists clenched. For her friends. For Facebook. She was going to hijack the single most important moment of my life, the reunion with my wife and child, so she could get some likes on social media. She was going to ruin it. She was going to take that beautiful, perfect image I had in my head of Lily's face and smash it to pieces on the altar of her own narcissism. That was it. That was the moment the patient, understanding son disappeared and the soldier took over. You don't mess with a man's mission. And my mission was to surprise my daughter. Don't worry. I told Sarah, my voice dangerously calm. She's not going to ruin it. Just make sure everyone is at the house tomorrow. Stick to the plan. I'll handle my mother. I hung up and immediately called Mark. Change of plans, buddy, I said. We've got an enemy combatant trying to intercept us at the LZ. Mark, who knows my mom well, just laughed. Say no more. I've got a plan B. The next day, I walked off that plane and the first thing I felt was American air. It was a strange feeling. After a year of breathing dust, the humid summer air felt thick and sweet. I walked through the terminal, my heart pounding in my chest. I was home. And just like she promised, there she was. My mom. She was standing right outside security, scanning every face. A huge, ridiculous welcome home. My hero. Balloon in one hand and her phone in the other, ready to hit record. She had her hair and makeup done perfectly. She was dressed up. This wasn't a reunion. This was a photo op. I saw her before she saw me. I ducked behind a pillar and texted Mark. Target acquired. Phase 2. Mark was waiting for me at the baggage claim on the lower level. We had figured my mom would wait at the arrivals gate, the most photogenic spot. We grabbed my bags, and instead of going out the main doors, we slipped out a side exit used for airport shuttles. I glanced back through the glass and saw her, still standing there, craning her neck, a look of growing annoyance on her face. For a second, I almost felt bad. Then I pictured Lily's face, and the guilt vanished. The drive to my dad's house was the longest hour of my life. Mark and I talked, but I honestly don't remember a word of it. My mind was focused. All I could see was Lily. When we pulled up a block away from the house, Mark said, "All right, here's the deal. I'm gonna go in the front, make a big scene, get everyone looking my way. You go around back, through the old garden gate. Sarah left it unlatched for you. Go get your family, man." I nodded, my throat too tight to speak. I got out of the car and moved like I was on a mission, quiet and fast. I slipped through the back gate, my heart hammering against my ribs. The backyard was full of noise and laughter. I could smell the grill, hear my uncle telling a terrible joke. And then I saw her. Lily. She was playing by the old oak tree, her back to me. Her hair was longer, braided down her back just the way I liked it. I took a deep breath. "Hey, sunshine," I said softly. She froze. She turned around slowly, her eyes wide. For a second, she just stared, like she was looking at a ghost. And then her face broke into the most beautiful, brilliant smile I have ever seen in my life. "Daddy," she screamed, and she launched herself at me. I dropped to my knees and caught her, burying my face in her hair. She smelled like summer and shampoo. I was home. I was finally home. Sarah must have heard her scream, because a moment later she was there, her hands flying to her mouth, tears streaming down her face. I stood up, with Lily still attached to my waist, and pulled Sarah into the tightest hug of my life. The three of us stood there for what felt like an eternity, a perfect, unbroken circle. It was everything I had dreamed of. Everything. After a few minutes, we walked out into the main party together, and the place just erupted. It was a wave of pure joy. My dad was the first one to me, his eyes wet as he crushed me in a hug. "Welcome home, son," he whispered. Everyone was cheering, hugging me, welcoming me back. It was perfect. For about 5 minutes. That's when a car screeched to a halt out front. A door slammed. And a moment later, my mother stormed into the backyard. Her perfect hair was a mess. Her makeup was running, and the welcome home balloon was nowhere to be seen. She looked like she'd been through a war zone. She zeroed in on me, ignoring everyone else, ignoring the fact that her son was finally home and safe. She marched right up to me, her finger jabbing at my chest. And that's when she started screaming. "How could you do this to me? How could you lie to your own mother and humiliate me in front of everyone?" The whole yard went silent. You could hear a pin drop. Everyone just stared, mouths open. My wife and daughter, who had been so happy just seconds before, looked scared. My mom kept going, her voice getting louder and more hysterical. "I was at that airport for over an hour. An hour. I was waiting for you. I had a party planned. All my friends were waiting to hear. And you sneak in here like a thief. You did this deliberately, to make me look like a fool." I just stood there and let her rant. I looked past her, at my wife's shocked face, at my daughter's tear-filled eyes. I saw the confused and pitying looks from my family. And in that moment, all the anger I felt just evaporated. It was replaced by a cold, hard clarity. This wasn't about me. This was never about me. It was about her. When she finally paused to take a breath, I spoke. My voice wasn't loud, but it cut through the silence. "Mom," I said, looking her straight in the eye. "This moment, this wasn't for you." She looked stunned, like I'd just slapped her. I continued, gesturing to Sarah and Lily, who was now hiding behind my legs. "This moment was for them. For my wife, who spent the last year being a single mother. For my daughter, who went to sleep every night not knowing where her dad was, or if he was safe. I didn't do this to humiliate you. I did this to give them the one, simple, private moment of joy that they deserved more than anything. I took a step closer. I'm sorry you felt the need to try and make their beautiful moment all about you. But I'm not sorry for putting them first. They will always come first. The silence in that backyard was absolute. No one moved. My mom's face went from red with rage to pale with shock. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Then, my dad walked over. He gently put a hand on my mom's arm. "That's enough, Carol," he said, his voice soft but impossibly firm. "You've done enough. Let's go home." For the first time in my life, I saw my mother look truly ashamed. She had been so focused on her audience that she never stopped to think about the script. And she had just been publicly written out of the show. Without another word, she let my dad lead her away. The party was a little awkward for a few minutes, and then it was like a spell was broken. My uncle cranked up the music, my aunt started passing out plates of food, and everyone rallied around us, making sure we felt loved and supported. It ended up being the best welcome home I could have ever asked for. My mom gave me the silent treatment for about 3 weeks. But for the first time, nobody played along. My dad told her flat out that she was in the wrong and that she owed me, Sarah, and Lily an apology. My aunts, who had witnessed her meltdown, didn't call to coddle her. She was left alone on her island of self-pity. She eventually came over. Her apology was one of those, "I'm sorry you felt that way" non-apologies. But for her, it was a monumental step. Our relationship is still a work in progress. There's a new boundary there, one that she is not used to. I am her son, but I am not her prop. My life, my family, our moments, they are not content for her social media feed. The best part? That memory of seeing Lily's face when she turned around by that oak tree. My mom's drama couldn't touch it. It's mine. It's ours. And it was worth fighting for. So yeah, that's how my welcome home party became a masterclass in narcissism. It was messy, but you know what? I'd do it all over again. Have you ever had a family member try to steal your spotlight? Let me know in the comments below. And if you think that was bad, you should hear what happened when she tried to take over planning Lily's 8th birthday party. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because you are not going to want to miss